I'm sitting in the observation lounge right now watching rain streak down the reinforced polycarbonate windows. It's been coming down for 3 days straight, and the sound against the glass is almost hypnotic. Almost makes you forget what's out there shambling around in it. Almost. My wife Emily is asleep in the bedroom down the hall. Our dog, a golden-furred Labrador named Biscuit, is curled up at my feet under the desk. The bunker's environmental systems hum softly in the background. A white noise I've grown so accustomed to that I only notice it when I actively listen for it. Right now, in this moment, I could almost pretend everything's normal. That the rain is just rain. That the world above us is still intact. But it isn't. I'm recording this because I need to. Need to get it all out there, even if no one ever hears it. Need to remember how we got here, what happened, how this billion-dollar fantasy I built became our actual reality. My name is David. David Pritchard. And I built a $10 million apocalypse shelter because I was paranoid and rich and bored. And now it's the only reason my wife and I are still breathing. The company I bought this place from is called Fortitude Systems. We're based out of Nevada, specialized in high-end survival architecture for the ultra-wealthy. You know the type. Silicon Valley billionaires who wanted nuclear-proof wine cellars, hedge fund managers with bolt holes in New Zealand. I wasn't quite that level, but I'd made enough in cryptocurrency and early AI investments to afford their mid-tier package. What they called the Sanctuary Complex. I bought it 4 years ago, 4 years before the world ended. Emily thought I was insane. We'd been married 6 years when I first showed her the plans, and she looked at me like I'd suggested we move to Mars. David, this is a lot of money for a hole in the ground, she said. We were sitting in our house in Boulder at the time, a nice place. Big windows, mountain views, normal life. She was working as a pediatric nurse. I was managing my investments from home, playing the market, getting more paranoid by the day about societal collapse. It's not just a hole, I told her. It's insurance. It's like having a really expensive fire extinguisher you hope you never use. She'd laughed then. That soft laugh she does when she thinks I'm being ridiculous, but loves me anyway. Okay, but fire extinguishers cost $60, not 10 million. I convinced her eventually. Took months. I showed her the specs, the redundancies, the self-sustaining systems. Fortitude Systems didn't mess around. This wasn't some corrugated metal tube buried under a field. This was a legitimate underground complex. 8,000 square feet spread across 3 levels, rated for nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. Air filtration that could scrub out anthrax. Water reclamation systems that would make NASA jealous. And the power source. God, the power source was the thing that sold me. RTG, radioisotope thermoelectric generator. Same technology they use on Mars rovers. Plutonium-238 decaying slowly over decades, generating heat, converted to electricity through thermocouples. Quiet. Reliable. No fuel needed. The unit Fortitude installed was rated for 90 years of continuous operation. 90 years. Emily came around when I pointed out we could actually live there part-time, use it as a vacation home. A weird, underground vacation home, but still. We bought the land in southern Utah, remote, stable geology, far from major cities. The complex went in over 18 months of construction. I visited the site every few weeks, watching them excavate, pour concrete, install systems. It was fascinating, like watching a spaceship get built underground. We moved in on a trial basis 2 years ago. Just weekends at first. The place was incredible. Fortitude had designed it to feel less like a bunker and more like a luxury underground home. The main living level had an open floor plan: living room, kitchen, dining area. They'd installed full-spectrum LED lighting in the ceilings that mimicked natural sunlight, a program to shift through the day cycle. Sunrise warm tones in the morning, bright white at noon, amber in the evening. It messed with your sense of time, but in a good way. Made you forget you were 60 feet underground. The second level had bedrooms, bathrooms, a small gym, and the observation lounge where I'm sitting now. The windows here were a clever trick. High-resolution displays showing live feeds from surface cameras, overlaid on actual reinforced glass that led to shallow light wells. You could see outside. See the Utah desert, the sky, weather happening in real time. It wasn't the same as being up there, but it was close enough that you didn't feel entombed. The third level was all systems. Mechanical rooms, storage, the UV farm, water treatment, the RTG vault. That level was purely functional. Exposed pipes, on metal grating floors, industrial lighting. It hummed and clanked and smelled like ozone and wet concrete. I loved it down there. Emily hated it. Said it felt like being inside a machine. The UV farm was my favorite feature. Fortitude had built a hydroponic growing system that took up nearly 1,000 square feet. Vertical racks under banks of UV lights, growing lettuce, tomatoes, peppers, strawberries, herbs. Automated nutrient drip systems. Computer-controlled light cycles. You could grow fresh food year-round down here, supplementing the massive storage pantry we'd stocked with freeze-dried meals, canned goods, rice, beans, flour. Enough food for 2 people to last 10 years if rationed carefully. 20 if we really stretched it. We had 2 German shepherds back then. Maggie and Hank, they loved the complex. Endless hallways to run through, cool concrete floors in summer. Biscuit came later, a puppy Emily brought home from the shelter 8 months before everything fell apart. She'd found him abandoned in a box outside the clinic. Some mutt with lab and maybe retriever in him. Big paws, floppy ears, the dumbest, happiest face you've ever seen. I wasn't sure about adding another dog, but Emily insisted. If the world ends, David, I want a puppy to cuddle. She was joking. We both were. We'd been living in the complex full-time for 4 months when it started. Not the outbreak, not yet, but the warnings, the signs. We'd sold the Boulder house, moved permanently to Utah. I'd grown tired of managing investments remotely, tired of the noise of normal life. Emily had quit her job. She said she wanted a break, time to figure out what came next. Really, I think she was just indulging my paranoia, playing along with my prepper fantasy. We spent our days hiking the desert, reading, cooking elaborate meals in our underground kitchen. It was strange and peaceful, and probably the happiest I'd ever been. Then the news started getting weird. February. 4 months ago now, though it feels like years. Reports of a new virus in Southeast Asia. Not COVID-style respiratory stuff, something else. Behavioral changes, aggression. The initial reports were scattered, easy to dismiss. A rabies outbreak, maybe. Contaminated drugs. The news didn't focus on it much. Everyone was more concerned about the election cycle, the economy, the usual garbage. But I noticed. I always noticed. I had news aggregators set up, keyword alerts, a whole information ecosystem designed to catch early signs of collapse. And this pinged everything. Cases spreading faster than any pathogen should. Quarantine failures, videos leaking online that didn't make sense, people attacking each other, biting. Emily told me I was overreacting. She was probably right. I'd cried wolf before. thought a dozen different things would end the world over the years. None of them had. But I started prepping anyway. Ordered extra supplies, ran system checks on the complex, topped off the water tanks. She rolled her eyes, but didn't stop me. March got worse. The virus, they were calling it ANRS, acute necrotic rabies syndrome, which was a bullshit name designed to sound less scary than it was, hit India, then Europe. Transmission vectors unclear, incubation period unknown. Fatality rate approaching 90%. Survivors exhibited severe neurological damage. Survivors. That's what they called them at first, before everyone realized the survivors weren't really surviving at all. I watched the videos. Grainy cell phone footage from Mumbai, from Paris, from Lagos. People moving wrong, jerky, stumbling, but fast when they needed to be. Chasing others, biting, and the people who got bitten got sick within hours. Fever, seizures, death. Then they got up. Started moving the same way. It was textbook zombie shit, except it was real, and nobody wanted to say the word because saying it made you sound insane. Emily started believing me in early April. We were watching the news, a press conference from the CDC. The director was trying to stay calm, professional, but you could see it in his eyes. The fear, when he was explaining new quarantine protocols, travel restrictions, National Guard deployments to major cities. Emily sat next to me on the couch, Biscuit's head in her lap. Her hand was shaking. "This is really happening," she said. "Yeah." "Your bunker isn't looking so crazy anymore?" "No." We were already in the complex, had been for months, but we hadn't sealed it. Fortitude Systems had installed blast doors at the main entrance, 3 feet of steel and composite armor, pneumatically operated, with manual backup cranks. You could lock this place down tight enough that nothing short of a military bunker buster would get through. But we hadn't done it yet. We were still going to the surface, still had surface vehicles, still thought maybe this would blow over. It didn't blow over. The ANRS hit the United States on April 15th. First cases in New York and Los Angeles simultaneously, which told you it had probably been spreading quietly for weeks before anyone noticed. The government response was immediate and completely inadequate. Quarantines that people ignored, curfews no one enforced. The virus spread like fire through dry brush. 5 days after the first confirmed cases, New York was lost. Just gone. The National Guard pulled out. They stopped reporting casualty numbers because the numbers stopped meaning anything. Emily wanted to call her parents. They lived in New Mexico near Albuquerque. We tried. Phone networks were overloaded. Then they started going down entirely. We got through once. Her mom answered. Said they were fine, staying inside, had plenty of food. Told Emily she loved her. The call dropped. We never got through again. I made the decision to seal the complex on April 22nd. Emily didn't fight me. We'd watched entire cities go dark on the news, watched the infection spread faster than anyone could track. The survivors were everywhere now, and everyone had stopped pretending they were anything but monsters. They didn't think, didn't plan, just wandered and reacted to sound and movement. Bit anything living, spread the infection, died again eventually from injury or exposure, but not before passing it on. We had 3 surface vehicles in the garage level, a modified truck, an ATV, and an electric SUV. Fortitude had built the garage as an airlock system. You could drive in, seal the outer door, go through a decontamination cycle, then open the inner door to the complex. We'd stock the vehicles with extra supplies, fuel, tools, plus escape options if we ever needed them. The day we sealed up, I went to the surface one last time. I needed to check the perimeter cameras, make sure the concealed air vents were clear, verify the diesel generator backup in the surface shed. The main entrance to the complex was hidden. Looked like a natural rock formation with a camouflaged steel door built into the hillside. You wouldn't find it unless you knew exactly where to look. The surface was desolate. Desert scrub, red rock, empty sky. We were 40 miles from the nearest town, and that town had a population of maybe 300 people on a good day. I drove the truck out to check the northern camera array. The desert was quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no insects buzzing. Just wind and the sound of my tires on hardpan. I kept the windows up, the air on recirculation, and I'd strapped a pistol to my hip, a Glock 19 I barely knew how to use, and I kept touching it like a talisman. The cameras were fine. I was heading back when I saw them. 3 figures on the horizon, stumbling across the desert from the direction of the highway. Too far to see details, but I knew what they were, how they moved. That weird, loose-jointed gait. I got back in the truck and drove faster than I should have, kicking up dust, heart hammering. They couldn't have seen me. They were too far. But I didn't care. I wanted to be underground, wanted those blast doors sealed, wanted to pretend the surface didn't exist anymore. Emily was waiting when I drove into the garage airlock. I sealed the outer door behind me, started the decon cycle. UV lights bathing the truck, air scrubbers running, chemical misters spraying down every surface. And it took 20 minutes. Emily stood on the other side of the inner door, watching through the reinforced glass window. I could see Biscuit behind her, tail wagging, oblivious. When the cycle finished, I opened the inner door and drove the truck into the underground garage, parked it next to the SUV, shut everything down. Emily hugged me before I even got out. "We're sealing it," I said. "I know." We closed the inner airlock door. I entered the lock code on the control panel, a 16-digit sequence I'd memorized. The door hissed, pneumatic bolts sliding into place with a series of heavy thunks that I felt in my chest. Then I activated the main blast doors at the entrance tunnel. Those took longer. The hydraulics groaned as 3 feet of steel swung shut, locking mechanisms engaging with sounds like gunshots in the enclosed space. And that was it. We were sealed in, cut off from the surface, from the world, from everything. That was 61 days ago. The first week was the hardest. Not because of supplies or systems, everything worked perfectly. The air was clean, the water was pure, the lights cycled through their programmed day-night rhythm. The farm produced fresh vegetables. We had power, heat, entertainment, everything we needed. But the silence got to us. The knowledge that we couldn't leave, that we were trapped by our own choice. Emily cried a lot that first week. She'd put on a brave face during the sealing, but once we were locked in, really locked in, it hit her. She missed her parents, missed the sun, missed the world, even though the world was ending. I held her at night and didn't know what to say. I'd wanted this, in some sick way. Mikas wanted my paranoia validated, wanted to be right. Now I was right, and it felt hollow and terrible. Biscuit helped. Dogs don't care about the apocalypse. He was just happy to be with us, happy to have food and toys and people to love him. He'd run laps around the main level, skidding on the polished concrete floors, bringing us his rope toy to play tug of war. Simple joy. Uncomplicated. Emily started smiling again because of him. We fell into a routine. Wake up to the artificial sunrise. Emily would make coffee while I checked the system monitors. Everything ran on automation, but I like to verify. Air pressure, CO2 levels, water filtration status, power generation, external camera feeds. The cameras showed us the surface. Usually nothing. Empty desert. Sometimes birds would land on the rocks near the vents. Once, a coyote sniffed around the concealed entrance for 10 minutes before wandering off. And sometimes we'd see them. The infected, not often. We were remote. But they wandered, following some instinct or random path, shambling across the desert. Sometimes alone, sometimes in groups of 3 or 4. They never found the entrance, never even got close. But seeing them on the monitors reminded us why we were down here, why we couldn't leave. They looked human from a distance. That was the worst part. You'd see a figure walking, and for a split second you'd think, oh, a person. Maybe they need help. Then they'd get closer to the cameras and you'd see the wrongness. The way they moved, the dried blood on their clothes, the vacant, milky eyes, the injuries they ignored, broken limbs, open wounds, flesh torn and rotting. They were dead. Walking corpses, animated by a virus that hijacked the brain stem and kept the body moving long after it should have shut down. I watched one on the cameras for almost an hour once. It had been a woman. Business clothes, heels broken off her shoes. She wandered in circles maybe 200 yards from the northern vent, just walking her random pattern. No purpose, no awareness, just movement. Emily came up behind me while I was watching. "Turn it off," she said. "I need to monitor." "David, turn it off. You're not monitoring. You're staring." She was right. I'd been doing that a lot, obsessively watching the feeds, looking for patterns, counting the infected that passed through our area, trying to make sense of something senseless. I shut off the monitor and we went to the gym instead. I'd ran on the treadmills until we were too tired to think. The farm kept us busy. Emily took over most of the growing operations. She'd always liked gardening, and the hydroponic setup was responsive and satisfying. You could see progress daily. Lettuce growing, tomatoes ripening, strawberries budding. She'd spend hours down on the systems level, checking nutrient levels, pruning plants, harvesting. The smell down there was green and alive, sharply different from the recycled air smell of the rest of the complex. We ate well. Freeze-dried meals supplemented with fresh vegetables. We had chickens too. Fortitude had included a small coop designed for the systems level. 6 hens that gave us eggs. They clucked and fussed and made the complex feel a little less like a tomb. Biscuit was terrified of them at first, which was hilarious. Was this 60-pound dog cowering from 3-pound birds? But the nights were hard. Even with the programmed lighting, your body knew something was wrong. Knew you weren't seeing real sunlight. Knew the sky on the observation lounge screens was just pixels. I started having dreams about the surface. Vivid dreams where I'd walk out into the desert and it would be empty and clean and normal. I'd breathe real air and feel real wind, and then I'd wake up to the hum of the ventilation system and the artificial darkness of our bedroom. Emily had worse dreams. She'd wake up gasping, sometimes screaming. Dreams about her parents, about the infection, about being trapped. I'd hold her and tell her it was okay, we were safe. But safe is a relative term when you're sealed in an underground box while the world dies above you. And we were 30 days in when the power hiccuped. Just for a second. The lights flickered. The hum of the environmental system stuttered. Then everything came back online, smooth and normal. But my heart was pounding because that wasn't supposed to happen. The RTG was stable, rock solid. It didn't hiccup. I went down to the systems level immediately. Found the RTG vault, a shielded room with a generator inside, Lid-lined walls, monitors showing output levels and radiation containment. Everything looked normal. Output was steady. Containment was perfect. But the main distribution panel showed a blip in the logs. A momentary voltage drop at 0300 hours, lasting 1.3 seconds. I ran diagnostics for 6 hours. Checked every circuit, every connection, every backup system. Found nothing wrong. The blip appeared to be a random fluctuation within normal parameters. Annoying, but not dangerous. Still, it scared me. Because if the power failed, really failed, we'd be on battery backup. And batteries only lasted so long. Emily found me in the vault at 2 in the morning, staring at readouts I didn't fully understand. "Come to bed," she said. "Something's wrong." "Nothing's wrong. You checked. It's fine. But if it's not, then we'll deal with it. But you sitting here staring at numbers won't fix anything." She was right. I followed her back upstairs, but I didn't sleep. I lay awake listening to the hum of the systems, waiting for another flicker. It didn't come. 45 days in, we saw something on the cameras that changed everything. It was late afternoon according to our programmed light cycle, and I was in the observation lounge, reading. Emily was in the kitchen making dinner, lentil stew with fresh tomatoes and basil from the farm. Biscuit was doing his usual routine of sitting exactly where you needed to walk, demanding affection. The Western camera feed was up on one of the displays, showing the desert in golden, late-day sun. A vehicle rolled into frame. I stood up so fast, I knocked my book to the floor. Biscuit barked, startled. Emily came running from the kitchen. "Is that—" "Yeah." A truck, big, military-style desert tan. It was moving slowly across the hardpan, kicking up dust. Not infected. Infected didn't drive. This was people. Living people. We watched, frozen, as the truck drove a search pattern across the desert north of our position. It would drive 100 yards. Stop, and someone would get out and look around with binoculars. Then they'd get back in and drive another leg, searching for something. "Should we signal them?" Emily whispered. I didn't answer. I was thinking. The truck had government plates. Military, maybe. But that didn't mean they were safe. Didn't mean they were friendly. 45 days into the apocalypse, who knew what people would do for resources? For a bunker like this? "David, should we signal them?" "I don't know." The truck stopped again. This time 2 people got out. Man and a woman, both in tactical gear, both carrying rifles. They scanned the horizon, pointing at something we couldn't see. Then they looked directly at our camera. I felt my stomach drop. The camera was concealed in a rock outcropping, tiny lens, nearly impossible to spot. But one of them was pointing right at it, saying something to the other. They'd found it. Emily grabbed my arm. "David." The woman raised her rifle, not pointing it at the camera exactly, but at the ready. The man pulled out a radio, spoke into it. We couldn't hear them. The cameras didn't have audio. But we could see them communicating with someone. Calling for backup, maybe? "We need to shut down the external feeds," I said. "What? Why?" "If they're monitoring signals, if they have detection equipment, we're broadcasting. The cameras run on wireless. They could track the signal back to the receivers. But what if they're here to help?" I looked at her. Sweet Emily, who wanted to believe in rescue, in government continuity, in the idea that someone was still in charge up there. I wanted to believe it too. But my paranoia ran deeper. "We don't know who they are," I said. "We don't know what they want. And we're not opening those doors until we do." She looked like she wanted to argue, but she didn't. We'd had this conversation before. The rules. We didn't open the doors unless we were certain. Certain it was safe. Certain the person or people outside weren't infected, weren't desperate, weren't dangerous. The complex could sustain us for years. We had no reason to risk exposure. I shut down the external feeds, all of them. The observation lounge displays went dark. Now we were truly blind to the surface, sealed in our box with no eyes outside. Now what? Emily asked. Now we wait. We waited 3 days, jumped at every sound, real or imagined. I kept expecting to hear pounding on the blast doors, demands to open up. But nothing came. The complex was silent except for the environmental systems. I wanted desperately to turn the cameras back on to see if the truck was still out there, but I didn't. Couldn't risk it. On the 3rd day, Emily broke. "Turn them on," she said. We were eating breakfast. She'd barely touched her food. "It's not safe. We can't live like this, blind, not knowing. Just turn them on for a minute, please." I turned them on. The feeds came back one by one, showing us the desert, empty. No truck, no people, nothing. Like they'd never been there at all. Had we imagined it? No. We'd both seen it. They'd been there. They'd found the camera. And then they'd left. "Maybe they gave up," Emily said. She sounded hopeful. "Maybe." But I didn't think so. I thought they'd marked our location, thought they'd be back. And I left the cameras on, but started monitoring them obsessively. Every few hours I'd check the feeds, looking for the truck, for people, for any sign we'd been compromised. Days passed. Nothing. Maybe they really had given up. Maybe we were just one location among hundreds they were checking. Not worth the effort. I started to relax. Started to think we were safe again. Then the rain started. 58 days in. I woke up to the sound of it. Took me a minute to place what I was hearing. Rain on the surface, picked up by the external microphones and piped through the observation lounge speakers. We'd had the audio off since the truck incident, but I must have turned it back on when I reactivated the cameras. I went to the lounge. The displays showed dark clouds, water streaking down the camera lenses. Real weather, a storm rolling across the desert. It was beautiful. I stood there watching, listening to rain I couldn't feel, and for the first time in weeks, I cried. Emily found me like that. She didn't say anything, just stood next to me and held my hand. We watched the rain together. It's still raining now, 3 days later, which is unusual for Utah desert, but climate patterns have probably gone to hell along with everything else. The cameras show pools forming in low spots, the desert turning temporarily green, and infected, wandering through the rain, oblivious to the water running down their rotting faces. I've been counting them. 19 in the last 3 days. More than we've seen in the entire previous month combined. I don't know if the rain is drawing them or if they're just spreading out from collapsed population centers. Either way, it's disturbing. Our isolation feels less secure when we can see how many of them are out there. Biscuit is asleep. Emily is asleep. I should sleep too, but I can't. I keep thinking about that truck, about the people who found our camera, about whether they're coming back, about whether we should have signaled them, made contact, taken the risk. But I know we made the right choice. Down here, we're safe. We have food, water, power, air. We have each other. We have time. The complex can keep us alive for years, decades if we're careful. The world outside is dead. Everyone we knew is probably dead. Opening those doors means inviting death in. So we stay sealed. We maintain our routines. We pretend the hum of the ventilation system is wind. We pretend the artificial sunlight is real. We pretend we're not in a tomb. And we wait. The rain is tapering off now. I can see it on the displays. The clouds are breaking up, showing patches of dark sky. No stars visible. The cameras aren't sensitive enough. Just darkness. I wonder if the stars look different now. If you could see more of them without all the light pollution from cities that no longer have power. I wonder a lot of things I'll probably never know the answer to. Emily is calling for me from the bedroom. Wants me to come to bed. Stop staring at monitors. Stop obsessing. She's right. She's always right. I'll go. But first, I need to check the system logs one more time. Need to make sure that power fluctuation hasn't happened again. Need to verify the air filtration status. Need to count the infected on the camera feeds. Need to. Have to. Can't stop. This is how you survive in a box. You create rituals. You check things. You maintain control over the tiny universe you can actually control because the universe outside is chaos and death. The Western camera just picked up movement. I'm zooming in now. 4 infected, walking single file like some nightmare parade. They're following the wash where rainwater is still running. Maybe they're drawn to the sound, maybe it's random. They'll pass out of frame in a minute. There. Gone. Just empty desert again. Biscuit is awake now, looking at me with those brown eyes that say, "Why are you still up, you weird human?" I reach down and scratch his ears. He licks my hand. Simple transactions. Uncomplicated love. I should probably explain more about how we got here. The details. The days between things are getting bad and we're sealing the doors. The progression. The tipping point. Because it wasn't just one decision. It was 1,000 small decisions building on each other until suddenly we were locked underground and there was no going back. I mentioned we'd been living in the complex full-time for 4 months before the outbreak. That's technically true, but it's more complicated than that. We'd been transitioning. Selling off our Boulder house took 2 months. We'd kept going back and forth, bringing loads of stuff, our remaining belongings, things we couldn't let go of. Photo albums, Emily's grandmother's china, my collection of vintage synthesizers that I'd convinced myself I'd learn to play someday. The complex had storage for all of it. Fortitude had built in massive supply rooms on the systems level. Industrial shelving, climate control, space for literally tons of equipment and supplies. I'd been stockpiling for years, not just food and water, medicine, tools, books, seeds, ammunition for guns I barely knew how to use, shortwave radio equipment, solar panels for surface deployment, diesel fuel in buried tanks, everything a proper paranoid prepper could want. Emily used to make fun of my stockpiling. She'd come home from work and find another pallet of freeze-dried meals in the garage. "David, we already have like 2 years of food." I'd tell her you can never have too much. She'd roll her eyes. But she didn't stop me. I think part of her found it endearing. Her weird husband with his weird hobby. Like model trains, except the trains were cans of beans and water purification tablets. When we moved to the complex permanently, she started taking it more seriously. Started making lists of what we needed, medical supplies. She had the expertise there. She stocked a whole medical bay on the 2nd level, not just first aid stuff, surgical equipment, antibiotics, pain medication, insulin, because what if one of us developed diabetes? IV bags and lines. A portable defibrillator, dental tools. She was thorough. "If we're really doing this," she said, "we're doing it right." We did it right. Spent $100,000 over 2 years just on supplies. Another $50,000 on the modifications and improvements I wanted. I had Fortitude install additional air vents, redundant water filtration, upgraded the observation lounge displays. Emily insisted on the UV farm expansion. "I'm not eating freeze-dried garbage for years," she said. "I want fresh food." So we expanded the farm, added aquaponics tanks for fish, tilapia and catfish. A closed-loop ecosystem. Our friends thought we'd lost our minds. The few times we told people about it, they'd laugh nervously, make jokes about tinfoil hats, ask if we were expecting aliens. We stopped talking about it, stopped inviting people over. Our social circle shrank to basically nothing, just us and the dogs in our underground fortress. I didn't mind. I'd never been particularly social. But Emily missed it. Missed her co-workers, her book club, her sister who lived in California. We'd video chat with family, but it wasn't the same. And I could never shake the feeling that I was isolating her, making her complicit in my paranoia. Then the news got bad, and suddenly we were the smart ones. Her sister called in late March, right when ANRS was exploding in California. I'm scared," she said. Her name was Rachel. She lived in Sacramento, worked in dental hygiene, had 2 kids. "The schools are closed. They're saying to shelter in place, but nobody's explaining what's actually happening." Emily talked to her for 2 hours, tried to stay calm, told her to stock up on supplies, stay inside, avoid people, basic pandemic protocol. But Rachel kept asking questions Emily couldn't answer. Is it airborne? How long does it last? When will this be over? We didn't know. Nobody knew. The information was contradictory and incomplete. Some sources said respiratory transmission. Others said blood-borne only. Incubation period estimates ranged from hours to weeks. The only consistent information was that once you showed symptoms, you were gone. Fever, seizures, coma, death, reanimation. The reanimation part wasn't in the official reports, but it was all over social media. Videos that kept getting taken down and reposted. People filming their neighbors, their family members, attacking each other with inhuman strength and zero recognition. Rachel's last call came on April 9th. She was whispering. Said there were people outside her house, trying to get in. Said her husband had gone to the store 3 hours ago and hadn't come back. The kids were crying in the background. Emily begged her to barricade the doors, to hide, to stay quiet. The call cut off. We never heard from her again. Emily tried calling back for days, just got network errors. Eventually, the network went down completely. No cell service, no internet. We still had local network in the complex. Everything was hardwired, but no external connection. Cut off from the world. That's when Emily agreed to seal the doors. When she realized her sister was probably dead. Her parents probably dead. Everyone we knew probably dead or dying or turned into those things. We sealed up on April 22nd. I already described that. The decontamination cycle. The blast doors closing, the pneumatic bolts engaging. What I didn't describe was the feeling, the finality, the knowledge that we just severed ourselves from the entire human race on a gamble that we'd be safer alone than risking contact with whatever was left out there. Emily cried all night that first night. I held her and didn't say anything because there was nothing to say. We'd made our choice. We were committed. The complex took care of the rest. The systems hummed along, indifferent to our emotional state. Air filtered, water recirculated, the power generated. The UV farm grew food under artificial light. The chickens laid eggs. Biscuit needed walking, so we walked him in circles around the main level until he was tired. Everything continued. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. We established routines because humans need routines to stay sane. Wake up at 7. Coffee, system checks, breakfast. Emily would work on the farm. I'd maintain equipment, read, exercise, monitor the cameras, Lunch, more work, dinner, entertainment. We had a huge media library. Thousands of movies and shows and books on local servers. Bed by 11. Repeat. The sameness was comforting and suffocating in equal measure. You'd think being trapped would drive you crazy, but mostly it just made you numb. You adapted, adjusted, found small pleasures in the routine. Emily started baking bread. Real bread from flour and yeast, not the freeze-dried stuff. The smell filled the complex and made it feel like home. I started keeping a journal, writing down everything that happened, even though nothing happened. Day 23, checked systems, all normal. Harvested lettuce, watched a movie, saw 3 infected on the north camera. Repetitive and boring and necessary. Evidence that I was still here, still thinking, still human. The infected were a constant presence on the cameras once I reactivated them after the truck incident. Not always visible, but regular enough that you could track patterns. They seemed to wander randomly, but there were trends. More activity at dawn and dusk. They'd congregate near water sources. They'd follow sound. We saw them change direction when the wind kicked up and rattled loose debris. I started thinking of them as a natural phenomenon, like weather. You didn't get angry at rain. You just tracked it, adjusted for it, waited for it to pass. The infected were the same. Dangerous, but predictable. They couldn't reason, couldn't plan, couldn't do anything except react to stimuli. As long as we stayed quiet and hidden, they'd never find us. Except then, one of them did. Day 51. I was in the observation lounge, monitoring feeds. The south camera picked up a single infected, female, maybe 30 years old when she'd been alive. She was wandering the usual aimless pattern. Nothing unusual. Then she stopped. Just stopped. Right in the middle of the desert. Stood completely still for maybe 30 seconds. Then she turned and started walking. Not wandering. Walking. Purpose. Direction. Straight toward our location. And I felt ice in my stomach. Watched her approach. She couldn't know we were there. The entrance was concealed. No lights, no sound, no heat signature. The complex was insulated and buried. But she was coming straight toward us. She got within 50 yards of the entrance. I zoomed the camera in. Her face was slack, dead eyes unfocused. Dried blood caked on her chin and shirt. She walked right past the concealed entrance, kept going. Walked another 100 yards, and then stopped again. Stood still for a minute. Then resumed her random wandering, heading east. I watched her until she left camera range. My hands were shaking. Emily came in, saw my face. What happened? One of them. She walked right at us, then past us. Did she see the entrance? No. I don't think she saw anything. She just came this direction, and then didn't. Random chance? Maybe. But it didn't feel random. It felt like something else. Like she'd sensed something. Some vibration, some electromagnetic field, some trace of our presence. Then lost it and moved on. It scared me more than anything else I'd seen on those cameras. I started monitoring more closely after that. Watching for patterns, looking for any sign that the infected were getting smarter, adapting, learning. But they weren't. They were still just shambling corpses, reactive, stupid. The woman walking toward us had been coincidence. Had to be. Still, I told Emily we needed to be more careful. Minimize noise, no loud music, no running the industrial equipment unless necessary. She agreed. We got quieter, moved softer, spoke in lower voices. The complex became a library, a tomb, silence broken only by the hum of systems and the occasional cluck from the chickens. Biscuit struggled with it. He was a puppy. Puppies are loud. He'd bark at nothing, at shadows, at his own tail. We had to train him quiet. Emily worked with him for hours, teaching hand signals, rewarding silence. He learned. Smart dog. Within a week, he'd stopped barking almost entirely, just whined softly when he wanted attention. The quiet made time feel slower. Hours stretched, days blurred. I'd check the calendar and be surprised we'd been sealed in for 40 days. Felt like longer. Felt like forever. Felt like we'd never lived any other way. Emily started talking about the future. What we'd do when this was over, when it was safe to unseal. We'd go to the ocean, she said. Spend a month on a beach somewhere. Feel sand and sun. Eat fresh seafood. She'd describe it in detail, this fantasy future. I'd nod along. Didn't have the heart to tell her I didn't think there'd be a future like that. Didn't think this would ever be over. The world had ended. The dead walked. Civilization had collapsed in less than a month. There was no coming back from that. No vaccine would fix this. No government would restore order. This was it. The new normal. Infected wandering the ruins until they rotted apart. Survivors hiding in whatever holes they could find. And eventually the survivors would die too, because humans aren't meant to live in boxes underground forever. But I let Emily have her fantasy. Let her talk about beaches and seafood and normalcy. She needed hope. I needed her to stay sane. So I described the beach house we'd rent, the meals we'd eat, the life we'd rebuild. I'd lie to the woman I loved because the truth would break her. Day 55. The power hiccuped again. Same as before. Lights flickered, systems stuttered. 1.3 seconds of voltage drop at 0300 hours. I went to the RTG vault immediately. Ran diagnostics. Everything looked normal. But twice now. Twice wasn't coincidence. I spent the entire day going through the system, checked every connection in the distribution panel, tested every circuit, verified the RTG output, all normal. But something was causing those blips, something I couldn't find. Emily found me in the vault at midnight, again. David, come to bed. I need to figure this out. You won't figure it out by staring at it. If the power fails, we have backups, batteries, the diesel generator. We'll be fine. She was right about the backups. We had batteries rated for 72 hours of full operation. We had a diesel generator on the surface that could run for weeks if needed, fuel lines that ran down to the complex. We weren't helpless. But the RTG was supposed to be the primary system, reliable, maintenance-free. If it was degrading faster than expected, that was a problem. I went to bed but didn't sleep. Lay there listening to the hum of the systems, waiting for another flicker. It didn't come. But I knew it would, eventually. Day 58. The rain started. I already described that. The beauty of it. The infected wandering through it. The pools forming in the desert. What I didn't describe was what the rain revealed. I was watching the cameras. The northeast feed. Rain was coming down hard, visibility poor. Then the rain eased, and I saw it. A structure. Man-made. Boss maybe half a mile from our position. I'd never noticed it before because it blended with the rocks. But the rain had darkened everything except the structure's metal components, solar panels, antenna array. Too far to see details clearly, but it was definitely artificial. I zoomed the camera as far as it would go. The structure was small, a shed or shelter of some kind. The solar panels were intact, which meant someone had built it recently, or was maintaining it. Emily. She came over, looked at the screen. Is that? Yeah, I've never seen it before, but it's there. Do you think people are using it? I don't know. We watched for an hour. No movement, no lights, no sign of occupancy. Just a structure sitting in the desert rain. It could have been abandoned. Could have been built before the outbreak. But the solar panels looked new, clean, functional. Could be a comm station, I said. Military or government, automated. Or it could be where those people in the truck came from. I'd been thinking the same thing. The truck had been searching our area. Maybe they had a base nearby. This structure. Maybe they'd found our cameras because they were operating in the same area. Maybe they'd marked us and left to report back. We should leave the cameras off, Emily said. We need to see what's out there. We need to stay hidden. She was right, again. But I couldn't bring myself to shut down the feeds. Not now. Not when there was evidence of other people so close. I compromised, shut down the northeast camera, the one pointed at the structure, left the others running. The rain continued. 3 days now. The desert was transformed. Puddles everywhere, scrub plants greening up, and the infected kept coming. 19 of them over 3 days, most just passing through. But one stopped near the southern vent. Stood there for 10 minutes. Didn't move. Didn't react to anything. Just stood. I watched her on the camera. Older woman. Gray hair matted with mud. She'd been wearing a floral dress once. Now it was torn and filthy. She stood in the rain with water running down her face, and I wondered if somewhere in that ruined brain there was still a spark of consciousness. A fragment of who she'd been. A grandmother, maybe. Someone's mother. Someone who'd had a life and thoughts and feelings. Then she lurched into motion, and the thought vanished. She wasn't a person. She was a thing, a virus-driven meat puppet. She wandered away from the vent, following some stimuli I couldn't identify. Gone. I've been thinking about that woman. About all of them. There are billions of these things now. Walking corpses, the entire human population, more or less, turned into mindless predators. And what are we? Emily and me and Biscuit. 3 living things hiding in a hole. Waiting. Waiting for what? That's the question I can't answer. Rescue? There's no rescue coming. The cavalry is dead. The military is dead. The government is dead. Safety? We're as safe as we're going to get. For this to end? It's not going to end. The infected will wander until they rot apart, which could take years. Decades, maybe, if the virus is preserving the tissue somehow. So what are we waiting for? Nothing. We're just existing. Surviving for the sake of survival. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all there ever is. Emily is calling for me again. Wants me to come watch a movie with her. Some comedy she found in the media library. She's trying to stay positive, trying to maintain normalcy. I should go. Should sit with her and pretend to laugh at jokes that stopped being funny the moment the world ended. But first, I need to check the systems. One more time. The RTG output is stable. 93%. Air filtration optimal. Water recirculation normal. Battery backup at full charge. External cameras online except for the northeast feed. All nominal. Everything's fine. We're fine. We're going to be fine. I keep telling myself that. Sometimes I almost believe it. The rain is stopping now. I can see breaks in the clouds on the western feed. The sun will come out soon. The desert will dry. The puddles will evaporate. The infected will keep wandering. And we'll stay sealed in our box, pretending this is living. Biscuit is wagging his tail at me. Wants to play. Wants me to stop staring at monitors and be human with him. Good dog. Uncomplicated creature. I throw his rope toy and he bounds after it. Claws skittering on the floor. Simple joy. I'm going to go watch that movie with Emily now. Going to sit with her on the couch and hold her hand and pretend we have a future. Because what else is there? What else can we do except keep going? Keep surviving. Keep hoping that survival means something. The cameras will keep recording. The systems will keep running. The complex will keep us alive. And we'll keep waiting in our tomb, listening to the hum of the ventilation system, counting the infected that pass by outside, marking days on a calendar that doesn't mean anything anymore. Day 61. The rain has stopped. The sun is out. The desert is beautiful. And we're still here, still breathing, still alive, for whatever that's worth. I need to back up, need to explain something I've been avoiding. The real reason I built this place. The thing I haven't told Emily. The thing I've barely admitted to myself. I didn't build this bunker because I was smart or prepared or cautious. I built it because I was afraid. Terrified, actually, have been my whole life. Afraid of people, afraid of failure, afraid of the world and everything in it. The money I made, the cryptocurrency boom, the AI investments, those were flukes. Lucky timing. I'd been betting on collapse for years, moving assets into doomsday scenarios, and eventually I got lucky. The world didn't collapse, but certain markets did, and I was positioned to profit. I took that money and did what terrified people do. I built a hole to hide in. Emily doesn't know this. She thinks I'm eccentric, quirky, a prepper with unusual resources. But really, I'm just a coward who got rich enough to build a fortress for his cowardice. And now that cowardice has saved our lives, which doesn't make me feel vindicated. Just guilty. Guilty that I'm alive because of fear while braver people died trying to help others. Emily's sister Rachel, she died because she was brave. Her husband went to the store to get supplies for neighbors who couldn't go themselves. He was trying to help. That's why he didn't come back. Because he was good and brave, and the world killed him for it. We're alive because I was selfish and afraid. Because I spent $10 million on my fear instead of, charity or helping people or doing anything useful. I built a tomb and decorated it with self-sufficiency and rationalized it as preparation. And now here we are. The fearful inheriting the earth. What's left of it? I can't tell Emily this. Can't admit that our survival is built on my weakness. She married me thinking I was smart, forward-thinking, protective. She doesn't know I'm just afraid. She can't know. If she knew, she'd look at me differently, see me differently, see the truth. So I keep monitoring systems, keep checking cameras, keep pretending this is about being prepared instead of about being afraid to exist in the world. The complex hums around me. My expensive coffin, my fear made concrete and steel and lead shielding. $10 million of cowardice keeping us breathing. Biscuit doesn't care. He's asleep at my feet, dreaming dog dreams, probably chasing rabbits. Simple creature, uncomplicated. I envy him. The observation lounge is quiet except for the environmental systems. Emily went to bed an hour ago. The movie helped her mood, some romantic comedy from 10 years ago. She laughed in places, real laughs. It was good to hear. Made me remember why I love her, why I do anything to keep her safe, even if the thing keeping her safe is my fear. I should sleep, should go to bed, should stop staring at monitors and writing this confession that no one will ever read. But I can't. If I sleep, I'll dream about the surface, about the infected, about Rachel screaming on the phone while her kids cried, about all the people who died because they weren't afraid enough. Or maybe I'll dream about the woman in the floral dress standing in the rain, the one who might have been a grandmother, the one who's just meat now, virus-driven, dead, We're all going to end up like her eventually. Emily and me. We'll die down here or we'll die up there, but we'll die. And if the infection is still active, we'll reanimate. Become the thing we're hiding from. There's a poetic justice in that. The coward becoming the monster he feared. But not yet. Not tonight. Tonight, we're still alive. Still human. Still together. Day 61 and counting. I just checked the system logs again. No power fluctuations tonight. The RTG is stable. Everything's fine. We're fine. I need to stop saying that. The northeast camera is still offline. The one pointing at the structure. I want to turn it back on. Want to see if there's activity there. But Emily's right. We need to stay hidden. Need to minimize our signal. Broadcasting from multiple cameras increases our detection risk. But I can't stop thinking about it. About who built that structure. About whether the truck people came from there. About whether they're still searching for us. About whether they'll come back. What would we do if they came back? If they knocked on our blast doors and demanded entry? We have weapons. The Glock. A shotgun I bought but never learned to use properly. We could defend ourselves. Maybe. Or we could open the doors. Let them in. Take the risk that they're friendly, that they're survivors like us. That together we'd be stronger. Except I know what I'd do. I'd keep the doors sealed. Because I'm afraid. Because that's what I do. I hide. Emily would want to help them. If she knew there were people out there who needed shelter, she'd want to open the doors. That's who she is. A pediatric nurse. Someone who helps. Someone brave. That's why I can't tell her about the structure. Can't risk her wanting to make contact. Can't risk losing her to my fear or to her bravery. We're staying sealed, staying hidden, staying alive. Even if alive means being alone forever. The rain has fully stopped now. The western camera shows clear sky. Stars are coming out. Tiny pinpricks of light that the camera can barely resolve. I wish I could see them properly. Real stars. Real sky. But that would mean going to the surface, and I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm going to bed now. I'm going to lie next to Emily and listen to her breathe and try not to think about everything we've lost. Everything I've cost us by being what I am. Tomorrow I'll check the systems again, monitor the cameras, maintain our routines, pretend this is living. Because what else is there? Day 62 starts in 5 hours. The artificial dawn will trigger at 7. The lights will brighten gradually, mimicking sunrise. The complex will wake up. We'll make coffee. We'll check systems. We'll harvest vegetables. We'll feed the chickens. We'll walk Biscuit in circles. We'll eat. We'll exist. And maybe that's enough. Maybe survival is its own purpose. Maybe I'll believe that someday. Good night to no one. Good night to the void. Good night to the infected wandering above us. Good night to the world that was. We're still here. Still breathing. Still alive. Day 62. Morning. Coffee tastes like recycled water no matter how much flavoring Emily adds. We're sitting in the kitchen. She's reading a book on her tablet. Something about gardening, always researching better ways to optimize the farm. Biscuit is begging for scraps of the eggs she scrambled. I'm pretending to read news archives, but really I'm just staring at text from 6 months ago when the world still made sense. We should inventory the medical supplies today, Emily says without looking up. Why? Because we haven't in 3 weeks. Antibiotics have expiration dates. I need to rotate stock. She's right. Of course she's right. I add it to the mental list of tasks. System checks, camera monitoring, medical inventory, exercise, farm maintenance, prepare dinner, pretend to be a functioning human being. Okay, I say. She looks at me then. Studies my face. You didn't sleep. I slept some. David, I'm fine. You're not fine. You're obsessing again. I don't deny it. Can't deny it. She knows me too well. I'll try to sleep tonight, I say. She reaches across the table, takes my hand. Her skin is warm. Real. She's real and here and alive, and I need to stop taking that for granted. We're okay, she says. We're safe. You built something amazing, and it's keeping us alive. You can relax. I want to believe her, want to feel safe. But fear doesn't work that way. Fear finds new things to attach to. The power fluctuations, the structure in the desert, the infected wandering closer, the possibility that I made some mistake, missed something, that the complex will fail and will die down here in the dark. I'll try, I say. She squeezes my hand. Let's go. Goes back to her book. Conversation over. She's learned not to push, learned that my anxiety is like weather. You can't control it, you just wait for it to pass. I finish my coffee. It still tastes like recycled water. The medical inventory takes 3 hours. Emily has everything organized in the medical bay on the 2nd level. Shelves of supplies, antibiotics, painkillers, antiseptics, bandages, surgical equipment. She checks expiration dates, makes notes on her tablet, rotates older stock to the front. I help by fetching boxes and reading labels. It's mindless work, good for turning off the anxious part of my brain. We don't talk much, just work. The sound of boxes moving, tablets clicking, Emily's soft humming. She hums when she's focused. Some song I don't recognize. It makes the medical bay feel less clinical. Most of this is still good, she says eventually. The antibiotics will last another year at least. Longer if we keep them climate controlled. That's good. We should think about rationing some of the painkillers. Just in case. Just in case. Just in case what? In case we're down here for decades? In case one of us gets seriously injured and needs long-term pain management? In case the world never recovers and we need these supplies to last the rest of our lives? Okay, I say. She makes a note, moves to the next shelf. I watch her work and think about how competent she is, how prepared. She took this seriously once we committed, learned everything she could about long-term survival medicine, studied manuals, watched training videos. She could probably perform minor surgery if she had to. Meanwhile, I barely know how to use the weapons I bought for protection. David? Yeah? You're staring. Sorry, just thinking. About? How lucky I am that you're here, that you didn't leave when I suggested building this place. She stops organizing, looks at me. Something in her expression I can't read. I'm not going to lie, she says. I thought about it. Thought about telling you this was too much, that you needed therapy instead of a bunker. Why didn't you? Because I love you. And because... She pauses, chooses her words carefully. Because part of me knew you might be right. About the world. About how fragile everything was. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew. This is the most honest she's been about it. Usually she pretends she was always on board, always believed in the plan. Hearing her admit she had doubts makes me love her more, makes me feel less alone in my fear. I'm sorry, I say. For what? For being right. For dragging you into this. She laughs, not bitter, just tired. You didn't drag me anywhere. I chose this, chose you. And I'd choose it again because we're alive and together, and that matters. She goes back to organizing. Subject closed. But I feel lighter, less guilty. She chose this, chose me. That has to mean something. We finish the inventory around noon. Emily makes lunch, Sandwiches with bread she baked yesterday, lettuce and tomatoes from the farm, preserved meat from the pantry. We eat in the dining area. Biscuit lies under the table, hoping for dropped food. The artificial sunlight from the ceiling LEDs is bright and warm and wrong. I can see Emily trying not to notice, trying to pretend it's a window. Real light. "Want to watch something tonight?" she asks. "Sure, your choice. Maybe that cooking show, the one where they compete." Okay. Normal conversation, domestic routine, like we're a regular couple planning a regular evening, except we're trapped underground while corpses wander above us. Except this might be our life forever. Except. I'm doing it again. Spiraling. I forced myself to focus on the sandwich. The taste, the texture, the simple fact of food in my mouth. Grounding techniques Emily taught me. Be present. Be here. Stop living in the fear. After lunch, I check the cameras. Routine? The feeds show empty desert. The rain has left everything washed clean. New plant growth. Puddles shrinking in the sun. No infected visible on any feed. That's unusual. We haven't had a camera clear period in weeks. Where did they go? I cycle through all the feeds. North, south, east, west. Nothing. Just empty landscape. It should be reassuring. Instead, it makes me nervous. They're still out there. They didn't disappear. So where are they? I spend an hour rewinding the feeds, checking the overnight recordings. Around 3 a.m., a group of 7 infected passed through the southern sector, heading east, following something. But what? Sound? Smell? Some stimulus I can't detect on the cameras? They were moving with purpose, not the usual aimless wandering. Actual direction, actual speed. I watched the recording 3 times. 7 of them. Moving together, almost coordinated. That's new. That's wrong. Infected don't coordinate. They're individuals. Reactive. They might cluster near food sources or follow the same sound, but they don't move together with purpose. Don't move like a group with intention, unless they're evolving, adapting, learning. No, that's not possible. The virus hijacks the brainstem. Motor functions only. No higher reasoning, no learning capacity. They're basically biological robots. Stimulus response, nothing more. But I keep watching the recording. 7 infected, moving together. East. I need to check the eastern camera coverage. Need to see where they went. I pull up the eastern feeds, scan through overnight footage. Find them. They're moving towards something off camera. Something in the direction of that structure I saw during the rain. The structure with the solar panels. The possible comm station. They're attracted to it. Has to be. Something there is drawing them. Electrical field? Vibration? Sound from equipment? Or people? People at that structure making noise. Drawing the infected. I should tell Emily. Should discuss this. But she's downstairs in the farm, working with the plants. Happy, content. I don't want to worry her. Don't want to admit I've been obsessing over that structure. So I keep quiet. Monitor the feeds alone. By evening, the eastern sector shows scattered infected. Maybe a dozen. They're not clustered at any one point, but they're all generally in the area of the structure. Drawn to something. Dinner is lentil stew, Emily's specialty. She serves it with fresh bread, and we eat while watching the cooking competition show. People competing to make elaborate dishes under time pressure. It's absurd, surreal. Watching people stress about perfectly seared scallops when the world has ended. But Emily enjoys it, laughs at the drama. So I watch with her and pretend to care who gets eliminated. Biscuit falls asleep on the couch between us. Emily leans against my shoulder. For a moment it feels normal, domestic, safe. Then I remember the infected moving together. The structure, the power fluctuations, the possibility that something's wrong, something I'm missing. The feeling of safety evaporates. After the show, Emily goes to bed. I tell her I'll be up soon. Just need to check a few things. She knows what that means. Knows I'm going to obsess over the monitors for another few hours. She kisses my forehead and leaves me to it. I pull up the eastern feeds. The infected are still scattered in that area. I count 15 now. More than before. They're congregating. Slowly. No coordination, but definitely aggregating toward the same location. I turn on the northeast camera, the one I shut down, the one pointing at the structure. The feed comes online. I zoom in as far as the camera allows. The structure is there. Small building, maybe 12 by 12 feet. Solar panels on the roof, antenna array, metal construction, and lights. There are lights on inside, visible through small windows. Someone's there. Someone's using power, making noise, drawing the infected. I watch for 20 minutes. No movement visible through the windows. No one comes out. But the lights are on. Someone's alive in there. Should I tell Emily? Should we try to make contact? We have shortwave radio equipment. Could attempt a broadcast, see if they respond. Or should we stay quiet? Stay hidden? Let them draw the infected away from our location? I'm leaning towards staying hidden. Of course I am. It's what I do. But the thought nags at me. What if they need help? What if they're survivors like us, struggling, running out of supplies? What if we could help? What if Emily would want me to help? I can't tell her. Can't risk her wanting to open the doors. Can't risk losing the safety we have for the possibility of helping someone else. So I stay quiet. Monitor the feeds. Watch the infected congregate near the structure with the lights on. Watch and do nothing. Coward. The word echoes in my head. I am a coward. I know this. Accepted it years ago. But knowing doesn't make it easier. I turn off the northeast camera again. Can't watch anymore. Can't see the lights and know I'm doing nothing to help whoever's there. Out of sight, in out of mind. That's the plan. I go to bed. Emily's asleep. Biscuit is curled at the foot of the bed. I slip under the covers and lie there staring at the ceiling. The artificial darkness is perfect. No light pollution, no ambient glow. Just black, like being buried, which is what we are. Buried alive in a tomb of my making. I close my eyes. Try to sleep. Instead, I see the infected moving together. See the lights in the structure. See Rachel's name on Emily's phone, the call that cut off. See the woman in the floral dress standing in the rain. Sleep doesn't come. Day 63. Morning. I'm awake before the artificial dawn. Emily is still asleep. I get up quietly, take Biscuit downstairs, feed him, make coffee, check the systems. The logs show another power fluctuation. 4 a.m., 1.3 seconds, exactly the same as before. 3 times now. There's a pattern. The fluctuations are consistent, same duration, same voltage drop. Happening roughly every week. I go to the RTG vault, run diagnostics, everything appears normal, output stable, containment secure. But something's causing those drops. I spend 2 hours going through every component of the power system, checking connections, testing circuits, running simulations, find nothing wrong. But something is wrong. Has to be. Systems don't fluctuate like this without cause, unless the RTG is degrading faster than rated, unless Fortitude systems cut corners on the installation, unless we're looking at a failure timeline measured in months instead of decades. The thought terrifies me. If the RTG fails, we're on battery backup for 72 hours, then diesel generator, then nothing. We'd have to unseal. Just go to the surface. Risk exposure. Or we'd die down here in the dark. I need to figure this out. Need to find the cause. Need to fix it before it becomes catastrophic. Emily finds me in the vault at 10 a.m. You didn't come back to bed. I know. Sorry, I was checking something. The power thing again? It happened again last night. 4 a.m. She looks at the monitors, the diagnostic readouts, sees the same thing I see, everything normal. David, maybe it's just normal variance. These systems aren't perfect. It's happening too regularly, every week, same duration. So maybe it's a scheduled system check, some automated process. I hadn't thought of that. Could it be? Could Fortitude have programmed some kind of weekly diagnostic cycle that causes a brief power drop? I pull up the RTG documentation on the terminal. Scroll through technical specs. Find the section on automated systems. There it is. Weekly self-diagnostic cycle. Runs every 7 days at 0300 hours. Duration approximately 1 to 2 seconds. Causes brief voltage drop while the system recalibrates. It's normal. It's supposed to happen. I've been obsessing over a feature, not a bug. Emily reads over my shoulder, sees the same thing, puts her hand on my shoulder. See? It's okay. It's supposed to do that. I feel stupid, relieved, exhausted. I've been losing sleep over a scheduled diagnostic cycle. I'm sorry, I say. Don't be sorry. You're keeping us safe, being vigilant. It's good. But it's not vigilance. It's paranoia. It's fear looking for something to attach to. It's me being unable to accept that maybe we're actually okay. We go upstairs. Emily makes breakfast. I eat without tasting it. My mind is elsewhere. On the structure with the lights, on the infected congregating, on whether I should tell her, on whether staying silent makes me complicit in whatever happens to the people there. You're doing it again, Emily says. Doing what? Spiraling. I can see it. What's wrong? I could tell her. Could come clean, show her the camera feed, the structure, the lights. Let her decide whether we should try to help. But I don't. I lie. Nothing. Just tired. Didn't sleep well. She doesn't believe me. I can see it in her eyes. But she doesn't push. Just finishes her breakfast, clears the plates, goes downstairs to work on the farm. I'm alone in the kitchen with Biscuit and my guilt. I check the cameras again. Eastern sector. The infected count is up to 23 now, where they're definitely aggregating near the structure. I zoom the northeast camera in. The lights are still on. I can see shadows moving inside now. Someone walking, living. I should help them. Should try to make contact. Should at least warn them that infected are gathering around their location. But I don't. I turn off the camera. Go to the gym. Run on the treadmill until I can't think anymore. Until my legs are rubber, and my lungs are burning, and there's nothing in my head except the need for oxygen. It doesn't help. The guilt follows me. I'm a coward who built a fortress for his cowardice. And now people might die because I'm too afraid to do anything. This is who I am. This is who I've always been, and I hate myself for it. Day 63 continues. I go through the motions, system checks, camera monitoring, lunch, more monitoring, dinner, entertainment. Emily tries to engage me, asks questions, tells stories about her day with the plants. I respond, but I'm not really there. I'm thinking about the structure, the lights, the infected gathering. By midnight, the infected count is 37. They're surrounding the structure now, not attacking, just there, standing, waiting, like they know something's inside, like they're patient. Infected aren't patient. They're reactive. This doesn't make sense. Unless there's sound coming from the structure, equipment running, generators, something that's drawing them and holding their attention. Or unless they're evolving, learning to surround prey, to wait. No, stop. They're not evolving. They're dead. Virus-controlled meat. They don't learn. None but 37 of them surrounding one small structure feels like more than coincidence. I watch the feed. The lights are still on inside. Someone's alive in there. Someone's trapped, surrounded, probably terrified. I could help, could drive the truck to the surface, create a distraction, draw the infected away, give whoever's in there a chance to escape. Or I could open the doors, invite them here, give them shelter, safety. Or I could do nothing. Let nature take its course. Let the infected do what infected do. Stay safe, stay hidden, stay alive. I know which option I'll choose. I hate myself for it. But I know. I turn off the camera, go to bed, lie next to Emily, listen to her breathe, try to convince myself I'm making the right choice. The complex hums around us, safe, secure, sealed. And somewhere above us, someone is going to die because I'm too afraid to help. Day 64. I wake up to Emily shaking me. David, wake up. I blink awake. She's standing over the bed, tablet in hand. Her face is pale. What's wrong? The cameras. You need to see this. I follow her to the observation lounge. She pulls up the northeast feed, the one I keep turning off, the one showing the structure. The lights are off now. The building is dark, and the infected are gone. Not surrounding it anymore. Not nearby. Just gone. What happened? I ask. I don't know. I woke up early, checked the feeds. This is what I found. I rewind the footage. Watch the overnight recording at high speed. Around 5 a.m., the lights in the structure went out. All at once. Not gradually. Just off. The infected reacted immediately. Started wandering away. Within an hour, they dispersed. Now there's maybe 3 in the general area. The rest are gone. Power failure? Emily suggests. Maybe. Or I don't finish the thought. Or whoever was in there is dead. Or they fled. Or they're hiding in the dark, hoping the infected will leave. Should we do something? Emily asks. Here it is. The moment I've been avoiding. She's asking me to make the choice, to decide whether we help or stay hidden. Like what? I don't know. Try to make contact, see if they need help. We don't even know if anyone's actually there. Could be automated systems, could have been empty this whole time. I'm lying. I saw shadows moving. I know someone's there. But I can't tell Emily that without admitting I've been hiding this from her. She studies my face, looking for something. Truth, maybe. You've been watching this, haven't you? That's why you've been so distracted. David, don't lie to me. You've been monitoring this structure. That's what's been bothering you. Caught. I could still lie. Could deflect. But I'm too tired, too guilty. Yes. How long? Since the rain. I saw it on the cameras. There were lights, activity. I think people were using it. And you didn't tell me? I didn't want to worry you. Bullshit. You didn't want me to suggest we help them. She's right. Of course she's right. She knows me too well. Emily, do you know how many infected were there? I checked the count logs. 37 at the peak. 37 of those things surrounding that building. And you said nothing. I was trying to protect us. Protect us or protect yourself? David, there could be people out there dying and you said nothing because you were afraid? The word lands like a slap. Afraid. She's never said it like that before. Never called me out directly. Yes, I say. I'm afraid. I'm terrified. Every second of every day. I'm afraid the systems will fail. I'm afraid the infected will find us. I'm afraid you'll want to open the doors and we'll die. I'm afraid of everything. That's why we're alive. Because I'm afraid. She's quiet for a long moment. When she speaks, her voice is softer. Fear kept us alive up to now. But it can't be the only thing we live for. If we're just hiding, just surviving, what's the point? The point is we're alive. Are we? Or are we just breathing? I don't have an answer for that. She looks at the camera feed. The dark structure. The scattered infected. I want to try to make contact, she says. Radio. See if anyone responds. Can we at least do that? It's a compromise. A small risk. Radio transmission from a sealed bunker. They couldn't trace it back to us. Couldn't find us. Probably. Okay, I say. We go down to the communications room on the systems level. Fortitude installed a full radio setup. Shortwave, VHF, UHF, satellite uplink equipment. I haven't used any of it. Haven't turned it on since we sealed. Too afraid of broadcasting our location. But Emily's right. We need to know. Need to try. I power up the shortwave system. It takes a few minutes to warm up. Emily stands next to me, arms crossed. Still angry, still disappointed. When the system's ready, I tune to a common emergency frequency. Key the microphone. My hand is shaking. This is David Pritchard. I'm broadcasting on emergency frequency. If anyone can hear this, please respond. Repeat, if anyone can hear this, please respond. I release the key. Wait. Nothing but static. I try again. Same message, same result. Emily takes the microphone from me. Her hand is steady. This is Emily Pritchard. We're survivors. We have shelter, supplies. If you need help, if you can hear this, please respond. We're listening. We wait. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. Just the hiss of empty frequencies. Try other channels, Emily says. I cycle through emergency frequencies, amateur radio bands, government channels, broadcasting the same message, listening for any response. Nothing. An hour passes. 2. We sit in the communications room, taking turns broadcasting, listening to nothing. No voices, no signals, no evidence that anyone else is out there. Finally, Emily stands up. They're gone, she says. Whoever was there. They're gone. Maybe they never had radio equipment. Maybe they couldn't respond. Maybe. Or maybe they're dead. She leaves the communications room. I hear her footsteps on the metal stairs, going up, away from me. I sit alone with the radio. Keep broadcasting, keep listening to static, keep hoping for a voice that doesn't come. Eventually I give up. Power down the system. Go upstairs. Emily is in the observation lounge, looking at the camera feeds. The northeast feed shows the structure, dark and silent. No infected nearby, no sign of life. I'm sorry, I say. She doesn't look at me. I know you're afraid. I understand. But we can't just hide forever. We can't let fear make us stop being human. What do you want me to do? I want you to try, to be willing to take risks for the right reasons, to believe that maybe there's something worth saving out there beyond just us. I don't know how to do that. She finally looks at me. Her eyes are wet. Then learn. Because I can't live like this, in a box, sealed away from everything, never taking chances, never helping anyone. I can't. You'd rather risk dying? I'd rather risk dying than stop living. Yes. This is the fundamental difference between us. Emily is brave. I'm not. She'd rather die human than live as a coward. I'd rather live as a coward than die at all. I don't know how to bridge that gap. I'll try, I say. It's a weak promise. Empty. But it's all I have. She nods. Doesn't believe me. Goes to the bedroom. I'm alone with the cameras and the guilt. I pull up the northeast feed, zoom in on the structure, dark windows, silent walls. Whoever was there is gone now, dead or fled. I'll never know which. And it's my fault, because I was too afraid to try to help. Emily's words echo in my head. I'd rather risk dying than stop living. Maybe she's right. Maybe survival isn't enough. Maybe being alive means taking risks, helping others, being human instead of just hiding. But I don't know how to be that person. Don't know how to override the fear that's kept me alive this long. I turn off the cameras, go to bed, lie in the dark next to Emily and listen to her breathe and hate myself. Day 64. The day I learned that survival isn't living. The day I learned my wife is braver than I'll ever be. The day I realized I might lose her. Not to the infection, not to the apocalypse, to my fear. The complex hums around us, safe, secure, sealed, and I've never felt more trapped. Day 65. Emily isn't speaking to me. Not angry silence, just distant. She's up before I wake, working in the farm when I check the systems, preparing meals but eating separately, going to bed early, creating space between us. I don't blame her. I'm disappointed in myself too. Biscuit doesn't understand the tension. He goes between us, tail wagging, wanting attention from both. Sometimes she'll pet him and smile, and I'll see a flash of the Emily I married. Then she'll remember she's upset, and the smile will fade. I spend the day monitoring cameras. The northeast sector is quiet. The structure sits dark and empty. The infected have dispersed. Whatever happened there is over, and I keep broadcasting on the radio anyway. Different frequencies, different times of day. The same message. This is David Pritchard. If anyone can hear this, please respond. No one responds. By evening, I've tried every channel, covered every frequency band, broadcast for hours. Nothing. The world is silent. Either everyone's dead or everyone's too afraid to respond. Can't decide which is worse. I'm in the communications room when Emily finds me. She stands in the doorway, watching me broadcast into the void. Anything? She asks. No. She nods. Sits down across from me. First time she's voluntarily been in the same room all day. I've been thinking, she says, about what I said yesterday, about taking risks. Okay. I was angry. I still am a little. But I understand why you're afraid. Why you want to keep us safe. This place, everything you built, it's working. We're alive. That matters. But I can't live the rest of my life sealed in here, never knowing if there's anyone else, never trying to help, never taking any risks. That's not survival. That's just postponing death. I don't know what to say. She's right. She's always right. What do you want to do? I ask. I want us to go to the surface. My stomach drops. Emily, not permanently, not even for long. But we need to check that structure. Need to know what happened. Need to see if there's anything salvageable. Information, supplies, evidence of other survivors. It's too dangerous. Living is dangerous. But we have equipment, protective gear, weapons. We can take precautions. Make it as safe as possible. What if we get infected? We have the decontamination airlock. We follow protocols. We're careful. David, we can do this. I want to say no. Want to refuse. Want to keep us sealed away where it's safe. But I see the look in her eyes, the determination. She's going to do this with or without me. And if she goes alone, I can't lose her. Can't let her go up there by herself. Okay, I say, but we plan it. Carefully, every detail, every contingency. We don't just run up there. Her face lights up. First genuine smile I've seen in days. Okay, we plan it. Together. We spend the rest of the night going through the equipment. The complex has full hazmat gear, sealed suits, respirators, gloves. Fortitude included it in case of chemical or biological threats. We've never used any of it. And Emily lays out the suits on the floor of the garage level. Inspects them for damage. They look intact. The respirators have fresh filters. The suits are reinforced, bite-proof. Good for chemical exposure. Should be good for infected too. We have weapons. My Glock 19, the shotgun I never learned to use. A compound bow with practice arrows. Emily suggests the bow. Quieter, she says. Won't draw attention. She's right. Guns are loud. Even if we killed infected, the sound would draw more. The bow is silent, but I've never used it, never practiced. I'll figure it out, I say. We plan the route. The structure is half a mile northeast. We can drive the truck most of the way. Park outside visual range, approach on foot, investigate, get out. Total surface time maybe 90 minutes. We'll go at dawn, when the infected are least active. When we have full daylight. We'll take the truck, the bow, extra protective gear. We'll have a radio in the truck linked to the complex. If something goes wrong, we come back immediately. Emily makes me repeat the plan 3 times. Confirms I understand every step, every fallback, every safety measure. We're going to be okay, she says. I don't believe her, but I nod anyway. We go to bed. She lies next to me, takes my hand. Thank you, she whispers, for being willing to try. I'm terrified, I admit. Me too, but we'll be careful. We'll be together. That's enough. I hope she's right. Day 66. Dawn. The artificial sunrise hasn't triggered yet when we wake. We're up early, preparing. I suit up in the hazmat gear. The suit is heavy, restrictive. The respirator makes breathing feel mechanical. Emily helps me seal the gloves, checks the suit integrity. Then I help her. We look ridiculous, like astronauts preparing for Mars. Biscuit watches us, confused. He knows something's different. Emily kneels down, pets him through the hazmat gloves. Be good, buddy. We'll be back soon. He whines softly. She kisses his head through the respirator faceplate. Stands up, looks at me. Ready? No. Me neither. Let's go. We descend to the garage level. The truck is where I left it 66 days ago. I haven't started it since. I get in the driver's seat. Emily takes passenger. The key is still in the ignition. I turn it. The engine catches immediately, rumbles to life. The sound fills the garage. Loud, real. The first combustion engine noise we've heard in 2 months. I let it warm up. Check the fuel gauge. 3/4 full. Oh, plenty. Check the radio link to the complex. Clear signal. Emily has the compound bow across her lap. Quiver of arrows on the floor. Communications check, I say into the radio. The complex systems respond through the speaker. Copy. You're 5x5. Beginning surface access procedure. I drive the truck to the inner airlock door. Stop. Emily gets out, manually opens the door. I drive through into the airlock chamber. She closes the inner door behind us, seals it, enters the code on the control panel. The outer airlock door begins to open, hydraulics groaning. Light spills in, real light, sunlight. We haven't seen it in 66 days. I squint against the brightness. Put the truck in gear. Drive forward, out of the garage, into the tunnel, toward the surface entrance. The tunnel is dark except for our headlights. Concrete walls. Metal reinforcement. Exit ahead. The blast doors are closed. I stop the truck. Get out. Emily follows. We approach the control panel. I enter the 16-digit code. My hands are shaking inside the hazmat gloves. The blast doors groan, begin to open. Slow, heavy. Daylight widens. Fresh air, real air, flows into the tunnel. And then we're looking at the surface. At the real sky, real sun, real world. It's beautiful and terrible, and I want to turn around and seal us back in. Emily takes my hand, squeezes through the thick gloves. "Together," she says. "Together." We get back in the truck. I drive forward, through the blast doors, out of the tunnel, onto the surface. The desert is exactly as I remember. Red rock, scrub brush, endless sky. But different somehow. Emptier. Deader. Even the air feels wrong, smells wrong. No chemical and rot underneath the clean desert scent. I drive slowly, following the route we planned. Northeast, toward the structure. Emily watches the windows, the bow ready. I keep one hand on the wheel, one on the Glock in my lap. The truck radio hisses. "Surface team, check in." "We're mobile," I respond. Proceeding to objective. "Copy. Be safe." The automated voice from the complex sounds surreal out here. Reminder that we have a place to go back to, a hole to hide in, if we make it back. We drive for 10 minutes. The structure comes into view. Small building, solar panels, antenna, just like on the cameras. I stop the truck about 200 yards out. Turn off the engine. Silence. Just wind and our breathing in the respirators. "I don't see any infected," Emily says. She's right. The area is clear. Not even bodies. Just empty desert. Could be inside. Could be hiding in the structure. Only one way to find out. We exit the truck. The sun is hot on the hazmat suits. I'm already sweating. Emily has the bow. I have the Glock. We approach the structure on foot. Careful. Watching for movement. The building is rough construction. Metal panels. No windows on this side. The door is closed. Looks intact. We circle around. Find windows on the east side. Dirty glass. Can't see inside clearly. But I can see shapes, equipment, maybe furniture. "Anyone inside?" Emily calls out. "We're not infected. We're here to help." No response. She tries the door. Locked. Not a good lock. Cheap hardware. I could probably kick it open. "Should we force it?" she asks. I listen. No sound from inside. No movement. No breathing. If someone's in there, they're either hiding or dead. "Stand back," I say. I kick the door. It doesn't budge. Kick again. The frame splinters. Third kick and it swings open. Smell hits me immediately. Even through the respirator. Death. Decay. Something died in there. Emily gags. I step inside. Let my eyes adjust to the dim interior. The structure is one room. Equipment racks along the walls. Solar battery array. Radio equipment. Computers. A cot in the corner. And on the cot, a body. Man. Maybe 40 years old. Military fatigues. Gunshot wound to the head. Pistol on the floor next to the cot. Dried blood everywhere. Suicide. Emily sees it. Makes a sound I've never heard from her. Grief and horror mixed. "Oh God," she whispers. I check the rest of the room. No infected. No other bodies. Just him. Whoever he was. Or there's a journal on the equipment rack. I pick it up. Flip through pages. Military notation. Dates. The last entry is dated 2 days ago. Day 47. The infected surrounded the outpost last night. 30+ count. Had to shut down all non-essential power to avoid drawing more. Running on battery backup. Rations nearly gone. No contact with command in 3 weeks. No extraction coming. I think I'm the last of the recon unit. The others didn't make it. I'm tired. I'm done. If anyone finds this, good luck. You're going to need it. Signed, Sergeant Michael Torres, U.S. Army. I show Emily the entry. She reads it, then looks at the body. At Michael Torres, who survived 47 days alone in this outpost, who waited for rescue that never came, who gave up. He could have come to us, Emily says. And if he'd known we were nearby? We didn't exactly advertise. Exactly. David, we hid. We stayed quiet. And he died alone because he didn't know there was shelter a mile away. She's right. If we'd broadcast earlier, if we'd tried to make contact, if I hadn't been so afraid, Michael Torres might still be alive. We need to check the equipment, I say. Changing the subject, can't deal with the guilt right now. Emily doesn't argue. We search the outpost. The radio equipment is military grade, encrypted, useless without codes. The computers are locked, password protected, but there are supplies, MREs, water, medical kit, ammunition, and maps. Paper maps marked with positions, military encampments, safe zones, quarantine perimeters, all dated from the first weeks of the outbreak, before everything collapsed. I study the maps. Well, one shows our area. Several marked positions. Our location isn't marked, and they didn't know we were here. But there's another mark, 50 miles south, labeled civilian encampment. Approximately 200 survivors, unverified. 200 survivors, 50 miles away, maybe still there, maybe not. We should take this, I say, showing Emily. She nods. We gather what we can carry, the maps, the supplies, the journal. We don't touch the body, can't bring ourselves to. We leave Michael Torres where he died, in his outpost, alone. Outside, the sun is higher now, hotter. We load the supplies into the truck. I'm about to suggest we leave when Emily points. Look, on the horizon, moving toward us, infected, 6 of them, walking our direction, drawn by the truck noise maybe, or just random wandering. We need to go, I say. We get in the truck, and I start the engine. The infected react to the sound. Start moving faster, not running, but purposeful. Headed our way. I put the truck in gear, drive, away from the structure. Back toward our complex, the infected follow. Can't keep up with the truck, but they try. In the rearview mirror, I watch them shrink. 6 shambling figures chasing us across the desert, chasing and failing, falling behind, gone. We drive in silence. The complex entrance comes into view. Home. Safety. I've never been happier to see those camouflaged blast doors. I stop the truck. Get out. Enter the code. The doors open. We drive through, into the tunnel. Stop. Emily closes the blast doors behind us, seals them. Then we drive to the airlock, through the decontamination cycle, UV lights, chemical misters. 20 minutes of cleaning while I sit in the truck shaking, and when the cycle finishes, we drive into the garage. Park. Shut everything down. We sit there for a moment, still in the hazmat suits, still breathing through respirators, still alive. We did it, Emily says. Yeah. We help each other out of the suits. Check for tears, for contamination. Find nothing. We're clean, safe. We made it. Emily hugs me. Hard. I hold her. Feel her shaking. Or maybe I'm shaking. Hard to tell. That could have been us, she says. If you hadn't built this place, if we didn't have shelter, that could have been us. I know. That poor man, alone. No hope. I know. We stand there holding each other until the shaking stops. Then we gather the supplies, take them upstairs. Biscuit greets us like we've been gone for years, jumping, tail wagging, pure joy. Emily feeds him while I examine the maps. The civilian encampment mark stares at me. 200 survivors. Maybe. 50 miles south. Should we try to find them, make contact, or stay hidden? I already know Emily's answer. She'd want to help. Want to find other survivors? Want to build something bigger than just us in our box? And maybe she's right. Maybe Michael Torres died because people like me are too afraid to reach out, too afraid to try. I look at Emily. She's reading Torres's journal, tears on her face, grieving for a man she never met. We should find him, I say. She looks up, surprised. The encampment, on the map. We should try to find them. Are you serious? Yes, you're right. Hiding isn't enough. If there are other survivors, we should help. We have resources. We have shelter. We have room. She sets down the journal, comes over, studies the map with me. 50 miles, she says. That's a day trip, maybe 2 if we're careful. We'll need to plan it. More supplies, better weapons, better communication equipment. But we'll try. We'll try. She kisses me. First real kiss in days. I taste salt. Her tears or mine. Thank you, she whispers. We spend the rest of the day planning, marking routes, calculating fuel, inventory supplies we'd need. It feels good, purposeful, like we're not just surviving anymore, like we're actually doing something. By evening, we have a rough plan. We'll go in 3 days. Take the truck, follow the route Torres marked, find the encampment, see if anyone's there, offer help, offer shelter if they need it. It's risky, dangerous, everything my fear tells me not to do. But Emily's right. Surviving isn't living. And if we're going to live, we need to take risks, need to help, need to be human. That night, I sleep better than I have in weeks. Emily is next to me. Biscuit is at our feet. And tomorrow we start preparing for the next surface trip. Day 66. The day we found a dead soldier and decided to be brave. The day we chose to live instead of just survive. I need to describe something I haven't yet. The psychological weight of coming back from the surface. We're sealed in again, back in our box. The blast doors are closed. The airlock is secured. Systems humming. Safe. But I can't shake the feeling of the real sun on my skin through the hazmat suit. The smell of actual air. The sight of horizon stretching forever instead of concrete walls. It's like a drug. One hit and I'm craving more. The complex feels smaller now, thus more confining. The artificial light feels faker. The recycled air tastes stale even though the monitors say it's perfect. Emily feels it too. I can see it in how she moves. Restless, pacing. She keeps going to the observation lounge, staring at the camera feeds, looking at the real world on those screens like she's trying to memorize it. 3 days feels like forever, she says. We're in the kitchen. Dinner, chicken from the coop, vegetables from the farm, bread she baked this morning. Real food, good food, but it tastes like ash. Because we know what's up there now. We've seen it, touched it, and we're choosing to go back. We need the time to prepare, I say. Can't rush this. I know, just now that we've been out there, being down here feels different. Worse somehow. She's right. Before, the complex was safety. Now it's a cage we're choosing. The psychology is completely different. I reach across the table, take her hand. 3 days. We'll make it. She squeezes, nods. But I see the doubt. Same doubt I'm feeling. What if we go out there and can't come back? What if the surface, for all its danger, feels more like living than this underground box? What if we're not built for this kind of confinement long term? These are dangerous thoughts. The kind that lead to mistakes. The kind that get you killed. But I'm thinking them anyway. After dinner, We go through the supplies we brought back from Torres's outpost. The MREs are still good. Military-grade rations designed to last decades. We add them to our stockpile. The medical kit has supplies Emily doesn't have. Special antibiotics, combat-grade painkillers, surgical equipment. The maps are the real treasure. Torres had marked positions from early outbreak, supply caches, military checkpoints, safe zones. Most are probably gone now, overrun or abandoned. But some might still be viable. And the civilian encampment, that's the one that matters. I study the route, 50 miles south. The road Torres marked is a rural highway. 2 lanes, probably not too congested. We can take the truck, bring extra fuel, extra weapons. Maybe make it there and back in one day if we're fast. What if they don't want our help? Emily asks. Then we come home. What if they're hostile? What if they try to take our supplies? Then we defend ourselves. She doesn't look convinced. Neither am I. We're not soldiers, not fighters. We're a former pediatric nurse and a paranoid investor who got lucky. Going into an unknown situation with potentially hostile survivors is insane. But it's the right thing to do. And Emily needs this. Needs to believe there's still good in the world, still people worth helping. So we'll go. We'll take the risk. Day 67. We spend it preparing. I check every system in the truck. Oil, coolant, brake fluid, tire pressure, everything's good. The vehicle sat for 66 days, but it's designed for harsh conditions. Fortitude spec'd the truck for exactly this kind of scenario. Emily packs supplies, first aid, food, water, extra ammunition. She's thorough, makes lists, checks them twice. I watch her work and feel a surge of love so strong it hurts. She's afraid, but she's doing it anyway. That's real bravery. I practice with the compound bow, set up targets in the garage, try to remember the basics. Stance, draw, aim, release. The first dozen arrows fly wild, hit the concrete walls, clatter across the floor. Biscuit thinks it's a game, chases them. Eventually, I start hitting the target. Not center mass, but close enough. Emily joins me. She's never used a bow either, but she's a natural. Hits the target on her 3rd try. By the end of the hour, she's grouping arrows in a 6-inch circle. Show off, I mutter. She grins. First genuine grin I've seen since before the argument. You're just jealous because I'm better than you at something. You're better than me at everything. True, but I married you anyway. We practice until our arms are sore. Then we clean and maintain the Glock. I field strip it. Emily watches, learning. She's never been comfortable with guns, but she's trying. That's what matters. If something happens to me, I say, you need to be able to use this. Nothing's going to happen to you. But if it does, David, nothing's going to happen. We're being careful. We're prepared. We'll be fine. I want to believe her. Want to think careful and prepared is enough. But I've seen what's out there. I've seen Torres's body. 1 bullet. The end. We could end the same way. All it takes is one mistake. One infected we don't see. One moment of bad luck. Promise me, I say, if something happens, if I get infected, you'll leave me. You'll get back to the complex and seal it. You won't try to save me. David, promise me, Emily. She looks at me for a long moment, then nods. I promise, but only if you promise the same. Deal. We shake on it. A pact. If one of us gets infected, the other leaves. Survives. No heroics, no last-minute saves, just survival. It's a dark promise, but necessary. Down here in this new world, sentiment gets you killed. That night we make love, desperate and urgent like it might be the last time. Like tomorrow we might die, and this is all we have left. Afterward, we lie tangled together, sweating despite the climate control, breathing hard. I love you, Emily whispers. I love you too. No matter what happens tomorrow. No matter what. We fall asleep like that, holding each other. Tomorrow we're going back to the surface, back to the real world with all its danger and death. But tonight we're here, together, alive, and that's enough. Day 68, dawn. We're up before the artificial sunrise, suiting up in the hazmat gear, checking seals, loading the truck. Biscuit watches us with sad eyes, and he knows we're leaving again. Emily kneels, pets him. Be good, buddy. Guard the complex. He licks her faceplate, makes her laugh. The sound echoes in the garage. We climb into the truck. I start the engine. The rumble fills the space. Last chance to back out, to stay safe, to hide. Emily looks at me. Ready? No, never. But I say, yes. We drive to the airlock, through the decontamination protocols in reverse. No need to clean going out, only coming back. The blast doors open. Daylight floods in, and we're driving, out of the tunnel, onto the surface, into the real world. The sky is impossibly blue, endless. I'd forgotten how big it is, how much space there is. The desert stretches forever, red rock and scrub and horizon. I follow the route we marked, south, away from our complex. The road is empty. No other vehicles, and no infected visible. Just emptiness. Emily navigates, calling out turns, checking the map against landmarks. We drive for an hour, 2. The landscape changes, more vegetation, trees. We're getting closer to what used to be civilization. Then we see the first sign of people, or what's left of them. Roadblock ahead, military, abandoned. Concrete barriers, sandbag emplacements, machine gun nests unmanned, and bodies. Lots of bodies. Soldiers in uniform, civilians, all dead. Some from gunshots, some from infection, some impossible to tell. I stop the truck. We sit there staring. Do we go around? Emily asks. Can't. This is the main route. Going around means at least 20 extra miles through terrain we haven't scouted. So we go through, carefully. I drive forward, slow, weaving between barriers. The bodies are everywhere, some in piles, like they'd been making a stand, others scattered, like they'd run. I see children among the dead. That's worse. That makes Emily turn away. We're through the roadblock, past the bodies. The road continues, empty, silent except for our engine. 5 miles later, we find the first infected. Just one, standing in the middle of the road. Man, maybe 60, wearing a bathrobe and slippers. He turns when he hears the truck, starts walking toward us. That stumbling, jerky gait, I could swerve around him. But Emily has the window down, the bow ready. What are you doing? We can't just drive past. He might follow, might lead others to the complex eventually. Emily! She draws the bow, aims, releases. The arrow takes the infected in the chest. He stumbles, doesn't fall, keeps coming. Headshots, I say. Brainstem. That's the only way. She knocks another arrow. Steadies, breathes, releases. This one hits his eye socket, punches through. The infected drops like a puppet with cut strings. Emily lowers the bow. Her hands are shaking. First time I've killed something bigger than a spider. You okay? No. But keep driving. We pass the body. I don't look. Don't want to see Emily's arrow sticking out of a dead man's face. We drive for another hour, see more infected, most at a distance, wandering the desert. Some clustered around what used to be a town. We avoid the town. Too many. Too risky. The map says the civilian encampment is 15 miles ahead. Former state park. Torres marked it as possibly fortified. Approach with caution. We're cautious. I stop the truck a mile out, get the binoculars, glass the area. I see structures, tents, temporary buildings, fencing, barbed wire, and people. Living people. Moving around, working. They're there, I say. The encampment. It's real. Emily takes the binoculars. Looks. I see her face change. Hope. Real hope. There must be 100 people there, maybe more. Torres said 200. Let's find out. We drive closer. Half a mile out, someone spots us. A figure on what looks like a watchtower. They signal. Others appear, armed. Rifles aimed our direction. I stop the truck, roll down the window, hands visible. A voice calls out. Male, amplified, megaphone. Stop where you are, exit the vehicle, slowly, hands up. Emily and I look at each other. This is it, the moment of truth. We can turn around, drive away, go back to our box and never leave again. Or we can take the risk. Emily opens her door, steps out, hands up. I do the same. The armed figures approach. 5 of them, 3 men, 2 women, all carrying rifles, all looking thin and hard and dangerous. The lead man stops 10 feet away, middle-aged, beard, scarred face. Who are you? He demands. David Pritchard. This is my wife, Emily. We're survivors. We saw this location on a map. Came to see if anyone was here. You infected? No. Bitten? Scratched? Any contact with infected? No. We've been sealed in a shelter, safe. We just came from there. The man studies us. Suspicious. Can't blame him. Where's this shelter? North. Private installation. We have supplies, resources. We came to see if anyone needed help. That gets a reaction. The armed group exchanges looks. The man steps closer. You're offering help? To us? If you need it, yes. He laughs. Bitter sound. Everyone needs help. The question is what you want in return. Nothing, just to not be alone. To know there are other survivors. Another long look. Then he lowers his rifle slightly. My name's Robert. I run security here. You want to come into the camp? You submit to a medical check. Full examination. You show any signs of infection, we put you down. Understand? Understood. And your weapons stay with us until we clear you. Non-negotiable. I look at Emily. She nods. We hand over the Glock and the bow. Robert takes them, signals to the others. Bring them in, slow. Any sudden moves and we shoot. We're escorted into the encampment. Up close, it's less organized than it looked through binoculars. The fencing is makeshift. The structures are temporary. Everyone we see looks hungry, scared, desperate, but they're alive. And there are so many of them. Men, women, children, old, young, families, a whole community. We're taken to a medical tent. A woman in her 50s examines us, checks our temperature, looks at our eyes, our mouths, our skin. She's thorough, professional. They're clean, she announces. Robert relaxes slightly, hands back our weapons. Sorry for the rough welcome. We've had problems. People lying about infection, raiders. Can't be too careful. We understand. He gestures around the camp. This is what's left of about 400 people who evacuated here in the first weeks. We're down to maybe 130 now. Lost most to infection, some to hunger, some just gave up and walked off into the desert. What about supplies? Emily asks. Food? Medicine? Running low. We have a garden, some rainwater collection. But it's not enough. We're rationing, 2 meals a day. Less for the kids hurts, but we don't have choice. Emily and I exchange a look. We have food, lots of it. Medical supplies. We could help these people. We have resources, I say. At our shelter, food, medicine. We can share. Robert stares at me. Why would you do that? Because it's the right thing to do. He doesn't trust it. I can see it in his face, but he's desperate enough to hope. What do you want to see? He asks. What do you need to know we're worth helping? Just show us around. Let us meet people. We'll figure out what we can do. He does. Spends the next 2 hours walking us through the camp, introducing us to survivors, families living in tents, children playing with makeshift toys, old people sitting in the shade looking defeated. Everyone has a story. Everyone lost someone. Everyone's hungry and scared and trying to hold on. By the end of the tour, I'm overwhelmed. These aren't just statistics. They're people. Real people. And they're dying slowly because they don't have what we have. Emily is crying, quiet tears behind her respirator. She stops in front of a little girl, maybe 6 years old, playing with a doll made from rags. What's your name? Emily asks. Sophie. That's a beautiful name. I'm Emily. Are you going to help us? Daddy says maybe someone will help us. Emily looks at me, then at Robert, then back at Sophie. Yes, she says. Yes, we're going to help you. Robert takes us aside. You're serious? You'll bring supplies? We'll bring what we can, I say. But we have conditions. What conditions? We need to stay hidden. Our shelter's location can't be compromised. We bring supplies here, to you. But no one follows us back. No one tries to find where we are. Why? Because if people know where we are, we become a target. We can help more people if we stay hidden. Stay secure. He thinks about it, nods slowly. Fair enough. How much can you bring? For 130 people? Maybe a month of food if we ration our stockpiles. Medicine, water purification equipment, whatever we can spare. When? Give us 2 days. We'll load the truck. Come back. Robert extends his hand. I shake it. His grip is firm, desperate. You're either angels or idiots, he says. But either way, thank you. We leave the camp as the sun is setting. The drive back is quiet. Emily is processing. So am I. We passed the test. Met survivors. Found people worth helping. And now we're committed. We're going to share our resources with strangers. Risk our security, our survival. It's insane. It's human. It's right. We reach the complex after dark. Navigate by headlights and GPS. The blast doors open. We drive through. Seal everything behind us. Decontamination cycle. Garage. Home. Biscuit greets us like we've been gone for years. Emily collapses on the floor. Lets him climb all over her, laughing and crying at the same time. I sit next to her, scratch Biscuit's ears. We really doing this? I ask. Yes. It's going to drain our supplies, reduce our long-term survival chances. I know. Could make us vulnerable if things go wrong. I know. Could get us killed. She looks at me, eyes red from crying, face streaked with tears. Could also save 130 people, including children, including Sophie. She's right. She's always right. Okay, I say. Let's save them. We spend the next 2 days reorganizing our stockpiles, calculating what we can spare. It's brutal math. Every case of food we give away is food we won't have later. Every medical supply is one less for us. But Emily's merciless. We'll ration ourselves harder. We'll expand the farm. We'll adapt. She's right. We can adapt. We have the infrastructure. The encampment doesn't. We load the truck with supplies, 2 tons of food, medical equipment, water purification tablets, seeds for planting, tools, everything we can fit. Day 71. We drive back to the encampment. Robert meets us at the gates. His eyes go wide when he sees how much we brought. This is incredible. It's a start. We'll bring more when we can. We spend 6 hours unloading. The entire camp turns out to help. People working together, organizing, rationing, planning. Sophie finds Emily again, hugs her leg. "Thank you," she whispers. Emily kneels down, hugs her back. "You're welcome, sweetheart." We drive home that evening with an empty truck and full hearts. Day 71, the day we stopped just surviving, the day we started living, the day we chose humanity over fear. And I've never been more terrified or more proud. The complex feels different now. Not a tomb, not a cage, a base, a resource, a way to help. Emily and I sit in the observation lounge, watching the sunset on the camera feeds. Real sunset, real sky. "Think we'll be okay?" she asks. "Honestly, I don't know, but I think we're doing the right thing." "Me too." She takes my hand. We watch the sky darken. Stars come out, tiny lights in the infinite black. We're alive. We're together. We're helping others. That's enough. That has to be enough. Day 71 and we're still breathing, still human, still trying. And tomorrow we'll keep trying, keep helping, keep living, because that's what it means to be human. Not just surviving, but caring, helping, loving, even when it's terrifying, even when it's dangerous, even when every instinct screams to hide. We choose love. We choose hope. We choose each other and everyone else we can help. The complex hums around us, our fortress, our resource, our way to make a difference. And outside, the infected wander. But they don't matter anymore. They're just another obstacle, another challenge. We're bigger than our fear now, bigger than our tomb. We're alive, and we're going to stay that way. Together. Thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with another story.